Jim, how do you sum up your emotions after a roller coaster of an evening here at Tannadice?
Well, of course, we're all majorly disappointed to be out of the Europa Conference, but I'm extremely proud of what the players and what the supporters have done over the last couple of weeks in Europe. All any manager can ever ask of his players is that they leave everything out there on the pitch. We never shirked a tackle, a header, second balls all night. We knew we were playing against a really good opposition in Rapid Vienna. We knew that they'd be hurting from last week's fixture. We probably caught them by surprise, I think, over in Vienna. A lot of people, when the draw was made, would have expected us to go over there and get turned over quite comfortably. So I was expecting a good reaction from Vienna, and I think they certainly showed that in the second half. What they're capable of doing. But my players, I thought, over the two legs were outstanding. Of course, we'll look at the areas that we need to improve on, and major disappointment that we've conceded from another set play. But we won't shy away from that. We'll make sure we work harder on the training ground in those situations and try and eradicate that in the coming weeks. But it was a great experience for myself and for the group. Really, young group of players in there. First time for a lot of us being involved in European competition, and I think what it has given us is real motivation to go and have a successful league campaign again this season, to make sure that we give ourselves the opportunity to enjoy this type of experience again next season.
The night couldn't have got off to a better start, deservedly 2-0 up at half time. Do you feel the lack of options off the bench just caught up with us a wee bit in that second half?
Fatigue and tiredness was always going to play a part, and it played a part on Sunday as well, where we found ourselves just getting deeper and deeper against Hearts, and it's difficult to get up the pitch given what the players have done. A number of the starting 11 tonight have had to play every minute of every game for us. And ideally you wouldn't find yourself in that situation. Unfortunately, with the injury crisis that we have at the moment, that's the state of affairs. But I thought some of the substitutions tonight were excellent. I thought Owen Sturton going on there for Max Waters led the line really well. He was extremely unlucky with the opportunity that he had at 2-2. I don't think it's a glaring miss from Sturts. I think it's actually very good goalkeeping from the Rapid Vienna keeper. He stands up, Sturts decides to try and dink it over him, and unfortunately it doesn't find the back of the net. But there's a number of really good individual performances. It's always about the team for me. It's always about the collective effort, and I thought we saw some great individual performances from a number of boys along the back line. Esselink again with his experience and his leadership qualities. Karestes, he's a terrific player, improving week after week. Kucherenko in the goal has had to make some big saves as well at key moments. Right through the team, I couldn't ask for any more of the players. I don't think anybody could have given more on the night. We were beaten by a really good team, and I think you've got to respect the opposition, and congratulations to Rapid Vienna. Good luck in the next round. But for me, I'm proud of what the players put in, and I would like to take this opportunity as well just to thank the supporters who have been with us on this journey over the last couple of weeks. They've done the club proud in Luxembourg. They've done us proud again in Vienna, and the big thing for us was to make sure we kept the tie alive so that we could get a good home support behind us at Tannadice, and they turned out in great numbers. And we know the expense that all of the travelling and everything entails. So grateful to them for what they've done for us. I'm so disappointed that we couldn't extend this European journey, and so grateful to them for the appreciation that they showed to the players at the end of the game.
It's a dressing room of great characters, so I imagine everyone's huddled round Amar trying to lift him after that penalty miss.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, look, we don't have a blame culture within this group. We've over the last couple of years created a fantastic environment for players to come and flourish and come and develop, and I think we saw moments of real quality from Amar in the game. He played a little bit longer than we had hoped, obviously just not long back from his injury. We certainly didn't expect him to have to play as long as he did, but Amar will be fine. His penalty is an inch from being the perfect penalty. I thought the penalties thereafter, the next 9 from both teams, were excellent quality. You know, and we'll get round Amar. He knows what we think of him. He knows how we feel about him. He's a really exciting talent, and you know, the Dundee United fans are in for a treat once we get him up to speed.
How do you go about picking the guys up so quickly for that game at Rugby Park on Sunday?
Well, this is the challenge that we've faced, you know, and like this is why I don't really like talking about the fatigue side of it, because we want to be in these competitions. We want the challenge of playing in Europe and then having to go again in you know 48 hours time. The game on Sunday is huge. You know, it's an opportunity to get to a quarter final in the cup. We didn't do well enough in the cup competitions last season. You know, this is a chance for us to get to the quarters. You never know, the draw's kind to you. You know, you can find yourself getting the hand in on a semi-final, and that's what we want to do. But of course, you know, the players are not robots. You know, they're humans at the end of the day. They've put a hell of a lot into that game tonight. Kilmarnock will clearly be fresher than us, but we won't use that as an excuse. You know, we've got a couple of new faces in, which I'm absolutely delighted about, with Lucas Stevenson and obviously Julius Eskison, and you know, credit to the guys behind the scenes for getting those 2 deals over the line. You know, both guys will be available for Sunday and will undoubtedly play a part, especially now given what the players have put into the game tonight.